Sydney Fizzard for Rebel News here in Banff, Alberta. It's the second day of our coverage here for the Kananaskis G7 Summit. And here is a designated protest site set up in the town of Banff. As you can see, there are a couple of people around, a few people behind us. And in this report, I want to share with you an interview from the Falun Chinese group here behind us. They're fighting against a very totalitarian government back home in China. And their roots extend all the way into Canada. There are Chinese police stations here that actually come after people that go against what the Chinese government has to say. And the main highlight, the big concern here is the fact that based on your religious beliefs, as you can see, the killed for their beliefs, there's an important message here that people in China are being targeted. They're being harvested for their organs by the government. This is MAIDS 2.0, but it surely might come here if we're not prepared. So here's our interview with the organizers of this event behind us.
We are, Falun Dafa Association of Calgary. We are here, all Falun Gong practitioners. We stand on truthfulness, compassion, and tolerance. We do the traditional Chinese meditation called Falun Gong. Falun Gong and Falun Dafa is same thing, but formally we call Falun Dafa. This is a traditional Chinese culture. So we are here now since, we want to show people, especially to show G7 leaders, some message, to ask them to help us to stop the persecution on Falun Gong in China and overseas here. And also to stop the organ harvesting from Falun Gong practitioners and the Chinese people. This is our purpose coming here.
Well, and obviously the Uyghurs, they became very well known for being harvested for their organs in China. But you said it's not just them; it's actually more widespread, the organ harvesting.
Yeah. Before, when I was young, it was quite little people, little crime guy, they were killed and for organ. But later, after Cultural Revolution, maybe 20 years ago, later,
Yeah, July 1999. It has been over 25 years. And ever since then, not only practitioners, Uyghurs, Christians, their organs, they were put into concentration camps and their organs were taken without consent. And they were forced to do hard work in the concentration camp. And also, I think that we hope that the Canadian government could get more attention to this issue, and so that in the future, maybe bring up this to President Xi or someone else, so that we can, so in the future, hopefully there won't, because this persecution has been over 25 years and it's still going on. And we can't, in the Western world, because in China, there's no journalistic autonomy or press freedom.
Well, speaking of which, we even had to fight. We had to take the federal government to court just to get our accreditation. So it's coming here, the lack of freedom of the press. But if I could ask a question for you, why is it that the CCP, why is it an acceptable practice to do the organ harvesting? Is there not a moral barrier there that they should consider?
Because, the CCP is anti-divine. It's anti-divine. In most countries, believe in Christianity, Catholicism, and for CCP, believe in none except for materialism, and that is the true evil. Because if you don't believe in anything, you can't do anything. So this is the root cause of this issue, and I guess for us, we need to bring more, because in China people don't know that, and because there's scrutiny over the internet, everything is under control. It's a totalitarian state. So what we are doing here is we need to bring up this attention to the Western world, to the media, so that we can get to know more people, get to know what we are we are suffering. Many of us, we can't really in Western world, what we can do here. But in China, if you're doing this, you will be imprisoned at once.
Well,
Yeah.
they'll be harvesting your organs if you protest it, I
Yeah,
imagine.
that's right.
The Chinese government, they just kill Falun Gong practitioner for their organ. And even in the 1 week, you can get the kidney and whatever,
Liver.
organs, like that. This is terrible. As a former officer, Ottawa officer called David Kurgo, he said, the organ harvesting in China, this is this star, you never see that kind of crime, So this is terrible. So many people died, just because for a few people they can pay a lot of money, So this is something very, terrible.
Yeah.
True, and I hope that in the future more people could support us and get to know us, because I guess this is very important. Nowadays, many people don't believe in God anymore. Like even in Western world, you're going to church, like you're just doing it for like on weekends. This is a form of like you're civilized, but most people they trust in science. They don't believe in God. So this is a problem. Like I guess there's an experiment like once conducted. The scientists has separated like two groups of children. One group, like they told them don't eat the candy, and the other group don't eat the candy, and there's this invisible man watching you. And for the second group, the children ate the candy. Yeah, so that's the function of religion, I guess. Yeah, that's what we are doing.
So what would you tell Canada's Prime Minister, Mark Carney? What would you say that he needs to do to better recognize your fight?
Yeah, I hope the new leader how do I say, hope them to stop to help us, just stop the persecution on Falun Gong. Not only on Falun Gong, for some,
Uyghurs, Christians.
Yeah.
This is a revival of, we hope there will be a revival of tradition and culture. Truthful, like, because the Epoch Times, what we are doing is focused on truth and tradition.
Are you guys with the Epoch Times as well?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I like the Epoch Times. You guys are great.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
He is a reader of Epoch Time.
Yeah.
She likes. But our purpose also want to show people don't believe CCP. They are not normal human being. They are evil. But most people, they don't know that. This is why we are here. Stand up, tell people the truth. So if you know the more Chinese history, modern history, this is whole the CCP's government. They just use killing. When they strong, they kill people. When they not strong, they lie to people. This is basic, nature of CCP.
yeah, they always, like, for instance, they will group up 40% of the population to fight against the 60% of the population. Yeah. And, back in the 50s, 60s, the CCP told the farmers, like, if you support me, like, you can get the land. But as a result, when the farmers has demolished the landlords, the Chinese Communist Party started the People's Commune. Have you heard of it?
I have not heard.
The People's Commune is pretty much run by the government, the community, and no private land or properties. Like you could, everything belongs to the government.
Yeah.
And
And I've seen videos from China as well where they have people within every community and they kind of watch everyone else to make sure their social credit score is good. They're not doing things they shouldn't be doing.
That's true. Like in China, there's, there's several, like, the power hierarchy is like province, city, and county, and under that there's like small groups in like villages, and usually there's like 50, 60 people, and there will be a party leader like watching people's like action, speech. Like even in companies, if you want to set up a company in China, like if the company like I can't come up with the proper figure, but over 300 people, there will be a section from the I think it's called the parties. Like they will send someone there to manage the company. Like it's pretty much a parallel system.
Well, and it seems. Oh yeah.
Yeah, why they can lie to people, because they have only one broadcaster, one CCTV. So if you have different idea from private media or what, you can't, if you do so, you will be, disappear sometime.
Yeah, there's no journalistic autonomy or press freedom in China.
Only one voice.
Who is
only one
is it Apple Daily in Hong Kong that he got?
Jeremy Lai. He has been arrested, I think, back in 2019, I guess.
I think just after the pandemic, right?
Yeah, right. And he's still there. Again, I'm not sure he's alive though. And the problem is like in Western world, the media, the function of the media is to control, like to watch the government, to make sure it's the voice of the people, to make sure that they're doing their job. But in China, no, it's the propaganda machine of the government.
I was gonna say that's what it's supposed to be, but like I mentioned earlier, we had to fight even to get our accreditation, and still we need the Prime Minister's permission just to get into the press conferences to ask questions. But I have a last question for you guys, and that is in Canada, we've seen recently that there are the Chinese police stations in Canada, and they're targeting Chinese Canadian citizens. How do you combat this? Are you concerned that there's going to be CCP, people that come here to watch you guys, to inspect you, to find out more about you for the government?
Yeah, we know exactly. Even myself, when last time, this is 10 years ago, when we had the organ harvesting, how do I say, 那个活摘器官论坛。
Forum.
Yeah.
Forum.
When we had the forum for organ harvesting, a lot of people, more than 200 people attended that meeting and see the TV. At that time, my car, punched out by the by knife, so wide knife. So 4 times, 1 month only.
Yeah.
So they also monitor you, even monitor my home. I know that, Here, quite a lot of people, not everyone, but they don't know. So the Chinese police station here, we know. Yeah, even in Toronto and, Vancouver, that's for sure. But, this is why quite a lot of Chinese guys here, they can't speak out. They are frightening to speak out. When they speak out, they will be in trouble for their relative in China. This is terrible things. So when you talk with Chinese guy, they usually wouldn't like to say that. But for us, I'm okay. Yeah. I don't stand up to say the truth. But most people will be dangerous. Yeah.
And then things will get worse, right?
Yeah.
G7reports.com is where you have to go if you want to see the latest from Rebel News on everything Kananaskis related. We're going to be there on the ground. We've been there on the ground in Kananaskis and in Banff and in Calgary. So stay tuned at G7reports.com.